Hello and welcome to episode 340 of the Smash Accept podcast. I'm your host, Michael Royer. You can find me on Twitter at Dynasty Dad FF. It is draft week. We are finally here. The NFL draft is this week. We're so excited because Snoog and I have been bringing you content literally since the day after the Super Bowl, talking about this rookie class, talking about, who you should be buying, who you should be drafting, how you should move into these certain tiers. And Snoog, we're almost here. Like, the draft is right around the corner, and we are here to help you guys smash your rookie drafts. Snoog, I'm pumped, man. Like, all these players that we've been hyping up, all these players that we've been telling people about, they're going to start being draftable players soon. And that officially means the fantasy football season is there. And you have these, some of your casuals come out of the woodwork.
I'm so excited for this draft because we're both big running back guys on this show. We've always been. So whenever you get a running back class like this, I've never gotten one this good. I started Dynasty in like 2019, 2020-ish. Dad, you've been doing it for what, like 20 years, 25 years since before I was born. So,
dude, that's messed up.
You've seen some elite running back classes. I haven't. So I'm excited. This is my first one. So I'm super excited to jump into this one. And I'm excited to just be texting Dad the whole time, like, TreVeyon Henderson stuck in around one or whatever happened. So I'm super excited for this draft for sure. And we're a couple days from it. So.
Well, 2017 really changed my philosophy. 2014 was the first year I got into it. It was 11 years ago, and it was Mike Evans, OBJ, all these guys. And you're like, okay, this is legit. Let's build around the wide receivers. And then 2017 rolled around, and I had teams where I was getting McCaffrey, Fournette, Mixon, Kamara, and you're like, damn. Like, this starts to shape how I think about Dynasty. And then, we started to get to a point where it's like, build around these young wide receivers, but let's fill in with these running backs. This year is going to be the perfect way to do that. Guys that are in the Patreon are going to make out big time. They are going to make some serious money because of the way that we've been shifting, the way that we think, the way that we build our rosters. If you guys want to be in there with now almost 700 people talking shop 24/7, talking about rookie drafts, I've now created a section, and you guys are going to love this, but 101 through 112, if you're in any of those draft slots, a chat room for each one of those where the guys are in there and say, hey, I traded Ashton Jeanty for Garrett Wilson in the 111 and other guys. It just gives you ideas, just like our trade show that comes out Tuesday, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's just ideas to help you guys get and dominate your trades. We're running a special now for draft month. The entire month we'll be doing this, 25% off your yearly membership. We have not had a deal like this yet. We've done 50% off 1 month. This is 25% off for the entire year. So you guys have that option. You're going to get 25% off on a year. That is a fantastic deal. Use code DRAFT. Snoog, this is going to be a fun year. This is going to be a fun draft. What I wanted to do now is we're right. Draft season's right around the corner, right? We are right there. And what we're trying to look at is, what this class is going to look like and how it looks like to other websites, and nobody better to compare it to than Fantasy Pros. Right after we just had Derek Brown at Dbro_FF himself. We did a mock draft with him. It kind of opened my eyes because you and I sometimes we line up really well. I think in this class there might be 4 or 5 prospects that we don't completely see eye to eye on. Having Derek on kind of opened my eyes to a couple other things of like, a lot of people start to get prospect fatigue. A lot of people start to just say, well, this is what Snoog said. This is what Dad said. So what we're going to look at today is Fantasy Pros current ADP. We're going to compare and contrast based on how Snoog and I have rankings. And Snoog, I mean, having Derek on was fun, but now I'm starting to look at some of these rankings, and it's wild in comparison to how you and I have it.
Yeah, it is. And that's what's really cool about the rookie stuff and the process is people kind of start to build rankings, right? And a lot of the big sites will put rankings out, and then people kind of cater their rankings to the big sites. What we've always tried to do is I always like to just look at it myself, see what I like, see what I don't like, and kind of craft rankings based on that. Obviously, if Cam Ward's going 102 in every single rookie draft and he's the consensus 102, I'm not going to sit here and tell you to take Quinshon Judkins over him because that's burning value, right? Like, we never do that here at Smash Accept. We're always like, okay, adjust to the market. We like TreVeyon Henderson better than Cam Ward, so then trade back from 102 to the 106 or 105 or wherever he's going and get picks added on top. And that's how we've always crafted it. Dad did it last year, big time with Jaden Daniels. You love Jaden Daniels. You loved Caleb Williams, but he was saying, get an extra first plus on top to tier back from Caleb if you want Jaden Daniels instead. So we try to kind of build that trade value in that market in ourselves to help smash a rookie draft, because there's always value pockets. And as you can see right now, I see a bunch of value pockets starting at 6 through 9, I would say, even 12, where I love a lot of these guys a lot higher than the Fantasy Pros site.
Yeah. So the next part I want to bring up with this, again, has to go with how we have things set up in the Patreon. And wow, so far we've actually had 2 guys switch to the yearly membership from the Patreon in the last 3 minutes since we've talked about it, which is wild. Guys love it in there. So that part's been awesome. So what I did was the 12 days of draft time with putting all the different trade comps. So you see Ashton Jeanty, and the way I had this completely broken down is he's my Dynasty RB3. He's my player comp is Saquon Barkley. I put equivalent of Brian Thomas Jr. and all the players that he's equivalent to. Foundational tier ups where you can go ways that you can trade up to Gibbs, Neighbors, Bowers, quarterback needy swaps, insulated trades for rebuild, insulated trades for all in, longevity swaps, production pillar moves, reduced volatilities, 27 picks. And then Snoog, what I really have started to do is I put every single rookie pick combination. So right now I say the 101 is worth the 102 and 105, or 103 and 104, or 106 and 2 random firsts. And literally every single thing you can put in a trade to give you guys the ideas to absolutely smash. Ashton Jeanty's been the 101. He's the 101 in every single format. That's not even debatable. But what I'm seeing right now, Snoog, is, a guy the other day sent me he said he got the 102 and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Now I'm like, okay, we're starting to really get some juice. I saw another guy, Garrett Wilson, in the 104. I was all on the Jeanty trade. I'm there for sure. But if you tell me I can get Hampton at 2 and JSN as a thrown in, or I can get potentially Henderson at 5 and get Garrett Wilson, now you're talking about 2 foundational assets for 1. So we love Ashton Jeanty. Not a lot to talk about there. Snoog, I think the first major difference here that we have compared to Fantasy Pros comes with Cam Ward. Now, I do have Cam Ward as my 103, but here's my caveat with that is 103 through 107. For me, it's 101 and 102, and Snoog and I have a different 102. But I have Hampton and Jeanty apart from everybody else. And then for me, 3 through 7, Cam Ward, TreVeyon Henderson, Tyler Warren, Tetairoa McMillan, Travis Hunter. Those guys are do what you want. And this is like the wild, wild west. Every league's going to be different. Like we're going to get trades right off the bat. All of our smash leagues, all the sharp leagues that I'm in, they draft on Monday this week. They're going to be drafting as soon as it's over. And Snoog, people are going to be drafting based off of need. We're here to help them smash based off of who they should be taking. So I think the biggest thing for me is really looking at that 3 through 7. And you still have Hunter at 2, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I would say so.
So we'll just lump it 2 through 7. But you look here, even Fantasy Pros has 2 through 7 with the same guys. Except Tyler Warren. They have Shedeur Sanders at 5 instead of Tyler Warren. So flip-flop those 2. I'm perfectly there. In their Superflex formats, just to, we love Fantasy Pros, they have it listed as Superflex and 2 QB. So that's probably why Shedeur Sanders and those guys will be bumped up so high. But I'm trying to make trades from 3 through 7, Snoog. I'm really trying to, what we want to do is get people prepared for their rookie drafts. What's the gap between 3 and 7 for you right now, or the gap between 2 and 7? Like, how much are you willing to move back? Who are you trying to target? Who are your guys here? Start with the overall process. If you have the 102 or 103, are you shopping it today for 105 through 107 plus?
Yeah, I am, because to me right now, the guys I really love in this range are Henderson, Hunter, Egbuka, and Tet McMillan, especially in that top 5 to 6 range. I'm not the biggest Cam Ward fan. I like the player. He's my QB1 in this class, but I think the Titans are an absolute crapshoot. There's nothing exciting about that, and I don't think he's this franchise-changing talent like a Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow type of quarterback. I think he's more like a high-end game manager, so I just couldn't care less to draft somebody like that high. That's just my process, but I really like how we're seeing a lot of Henderson, a lot of Travis Hunter, a lot of Tet McMillan in that 104, 105, 106 range, because to me, they're in that same range, right there with with a Hampton, with these other guys that you can trade back 4 spots and get an early second on top of. I think TreVeyon Henderson goes in the first round of the NFL draft. Like, I think there's going to be 3 running backs taken. I think TreVeyon Henderson, I think Hampton and Jeanty are going to go. And then a lot of these QB needy teams are going to be like, or running back needy teams are just going to be like, I clearly view TreVeyon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins as the best guys by a mile here. I'm not missing out on one of them. I'm going to get my guy here now. And I think it would be TreVeyon Henderson in that case. So I think that there's just really good value.
You know, and the thing that's awesome, and, you know, is TreVeyon Henderson is one of your guys. Obviously, you know, Omarion Hampton has been my guy at the 102. And this is what's awesome here, Snoog, is, and what's great about Dynasty is if I'm at the 102, I'm going to smash Hampton because I believe in the prospect. If you're at 102, some of the trades that I've listed that I think you can get done at the 102 is to tier up. You trade the 102 plus the 202 and get yourself to a Caleb, Amon-Ra, a Puka. That's how valuable that 102 is. I think if you're in that spot to tier back, I currently have the 102 worth the 103 plus the 111, or the 104 plus the 19, or the 105 plus the 18. And if you're in on that, Snoog, I mean, the way this class is, if you tell me I'm getting the 105 and the 108, now you're talking about TreVeyon Henderson plus Quinshon Judkins, and you're a believer in both of those guys. That's really the kind of value that you have, that we should probably be kicking the tires on those early trades before the NFL draft. Because if right now, if Omarion Hampton goes to the Bears or to the Broncos or somewhere in round 1, his stock is going to fly. However, TreVeyon Henderson's in the same way. If his stock goes, if he gets drafted in round 1, which there's starting to be some buzz there, you know, they got the over-under at 2.5. I think he ultimately goes early second. But if he goes somewhere early second and goes to one of these landing spots, the Chargers, the Bears, the Cowboys, there's so many landing spots, his stock is going to fly. And I honestly think when it's all said and done, he's the 103. I think he's going to shoot up boards. He's someone that you and I have both been very heavy on throughout the process. And TreVeyon Henderson, day one, I have him currently at 106. I could see him go all the way at 103. And that's what's so cool about that 103 to 107 is these guys, league to league, there's going to be leagues where people are pushing up quarterbacks and they're going to take Ward, and they might even take Sanders or Dart. They're going to take these guys. And now TreVeyon Henderson is a deal. You're going to get absolute great value on him. I see some leagues now where, you know, Tetairoa McMillan's dropping to 105, you know, and I think Tetairoa McMillan is a phenomenal wide receiver prospect, back-to-back 1,300-yard seasons, 10 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. We have prospect fatigue where people were saying he was a top 8. Some people say maybe fourth in the NFL draft, then 8th, then 12th, then some mocks have had him in the 20s. He's going to go top 15, and that puts him as, like, in this class, you're going to get him in the top 15, and you're going to get Hunter in the top 5. You're talking about 2 wide receivers that are going to get great draft capital. That we keep crapping on this class. We keep saying this class isn't good. That is really something that, for me as a casual fan, talking about.
Yeah.
This class is good. It just doesn't have Caleb Williams, Malik Neighbors. The quarterbacks are not elite. The wide receivers are good, but they're not the same level as, say, Marv and BTJ and Malik Neighbors, but they're going to be good. So, I mean, that 2 through 7 is juicy.
Yep. And the best thing about this class is running backs, the best hit rate, best prospects to draft in rookie drafts. This is the best running back class we've had since 2017. Blows away all the ones you can maybe argue 2023 at the top end because Bijan and Gibbs and Achane, but the depth of that class.
Yeah, but Achane wasn't up there then. Achane,
exactly.
You were getting him at 112, and it was just the landing spot. Like, if he goes to the wrong landing spot, he doesn't land with Mike McDaniels, I think we got a different story, right? Like, he goes to Tennessee or, he goes somewhere where it doesn't work. Yep. It's not a thing.
I agree with that, yeah. So I just think that people are really, like you said, it's prospect fatigue at its finest. We talked about it backstage. We're seeing it a lot with Tet McMillan, TreVeyon Henderson, Emeka Egbuka, Quinshon Judkins, guys that have been really good since they were freshmen, because that's when it really kicks in, right? Like Hampton blew out as a sophomore, kind of that new flashy toy. Same with Travis Hunter, kind of that newer flashy toy. Same with Jeanty, kind of that newer flashy toy. But everybody with the other guys that have been good, it's like, I've seen this guy. I don't really care for him anymore.
And I'm glad you brought up Egbuka. I have him a little bit lower than consensus. Fantasy Pros has him as the 108. I have him as the 109. I know you have him more like the 106. We're seeing rumors of him going to the Texans. We're seeing rumors of him going, to the Packers, somewhere where he could literally be a day one producer. I had him, I think his ceiling is very close to a Keenan Allen type. I know you said his ceiling's, an Amon-Ra type. This is a wide receiver that I think people are sleeping on and pushing him down further and further. And I agree, I might be able to be one of those people, but I have a hard time moving him above, say, a Tyler Warren because of the productional scarcity or the running backs, the big three running backs that we have in that area. But I have no problem when people, if they don't want Ward, to trade back from 103, 104 back to like 107 through 109. I think that's where Egbuka is going to go. And it's prospect fatigue, right? He's been around long enough where people are like, I don't know if he's that great, but he's been absolutely stellar.
Yeah, he led Ohio State in career receptions and yards like that. To do that at that school, and everyone says, well, he played 4 years. Well, he was hurt for half of one of the years, so he really didn't play that much more games than any of the other guys, right? And he didn't really play at all as a freshman because he was playing with Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jackson Smith, and Jigba, and Jamison Williams. So special player. Like, I love that Keenan Allen comp that you brought up because, again, Keenan Allen, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, a lot of these guys are fantasy football machines. Amon-Ra St. Brown, and a lot of them didn't go in round one. But I think Jackson Smith and Jigba, Ladd McConkey, and some of these more recent studs coming out of the slot are making that position more valuable. In this type of class, with wide receiver being one of the 5 premium positions, I don't see a scenario where he's slipping down to 25 and CJ Stroud doesn't say, D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio, draft that guy right now. Like, that's how confident I am that he's going to be a Texan at the minimum. He's not making it past them. Yeah,
and I think, his floor or medium type area, I think, is a Chris Godwin. So, you're going to get a really nice wide receiver. The interesting part, I want to talk real quick here about 10 through 12 before we move on, because we've talked about these guys ad nauseum, but honestly, Jackson Dart is moving up the boards. You and I have said this for months, right? Like, most people had him as a late second, then he went to a mid second, then he went to an early second. I'm fully on board with him being a first now. Like, he goes in the first round. He has the upside to be the QB1 in this class, getting him in that 10 to 12 range. Luther Burden, I'm starting to really just sour on Luther Burden. I'm going to smash him if he falls into early round two. I'm all over him. Quinshon Judkins at 12, though, this is just highway robbery. Like, this is what's so cool about this class is, like I said, 1 and 2, I think are elite. Whether you have that as Hunter or Hampton, those are the guys, right? But 3 through 7, you're going to get guys that are top 12 at their position. 8 through 16, you're going to get guys that are top 24 at their position right off the bat. And that's why I think the value is really there for the Jackson Darts, the Quinshon Judkins, the Luther Burdens, Caleb Johnson, guys like that.
Yeah, I love that. Jackson Dart, it's looking more and more like he's a lock to go round 1. Dad, we've said that since what, January, December?
Yeah.
Before the season even ended for college football. But Jackson Dart is minus 280 to go in the first round on DraftKings. Emeka Egbuka is also minus 250. So those are 2 guys you could damn near pencil in to be first round picks. Judkins is like, I think he's plus 2 something. And I think Luther Burden's like plus 1 something. We could get a scenario where 1 through 10 on your board right now, Dad, that we're looking at all go in the first round. And I really think that's a really good possibility. They don't even have Colston Loveland on this board yet, but he's also going to be a first round pick. This is a weak class overall. A lot of the fantasy football tight ends, running backs, wide receivers, Cam Ward, Sanders, and Dart, like, they're all going to go round 1 because of it. Like, that's the good part about this class is they're going to get the good draft capital because it's a weak class overall. So that's what people don't really kind of think about, and that's what I've been trying to highlight.
So many guys are coming to me and they're saying, Dad, I got the 103. I'm going to take Cam Ward. Honestly, at this point, because of the way it's set up at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, you could trade the 103 plus 2 firsts to get the 111. Like, you could tier back to the 111 and get 2 firsts, whether it's a 26 and a 27, whether it's 2 random 26, and take Jackson Dart, because all 3 of these quarterbacks that are going to go in round 1 of your super flex drafts, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, none of them are locks, right? Last year we said Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, those guys are locks. JJ McCarthy, Michael Penix, those other guys, I think they're going to have a good chance. These guys are more in that mold of like, JJ McCarthy didn't land at the Vikings. It would be a different story, but McCarthy and Penix and Nix and Ward, Sanders, Dart, they got to be in the right spot. And you know what? Bo Nix went to the right spot, so he got it done, right? Michael Penix Jr., potentially the right spot. JJ McCarthy, potentially the right spot. Tennessee, the Giants, like the Saints, I don't think those are the right spots. This quarterback class is almost doomed for rough landing spots. Jackson Dart goes to the Steelers at 21. He's my QB1 of the class. Like, honestly, you almost have to look at it that way, where he's going to get great coaching staff. You and I talk about that all the time. Quarterbacks, the system, the coaching, and the surroundings matter almost more than the talent sometimes, because we've had supremely talented guys fall off because of those things. So I love the first round. Snoog, what's exciting is to look at the second round. And the guy that you and I had as the RB2, 8 months ago, Caleb Johnson, I think is your biggest boom, bust, make or break type prospect, where the ceiling, if you tell me 3 years from now, we jump into the future that Caleb Johnson is a top 5 to 8 running back in Dynasty, I would not be shocked if he goes to the right spot. If he goes to a Denver, if he goes somewhere where they're going to have that great zone blocking scheme. If Caleb Johnson doesn't, okay, we're at a spot where he's going to have a solid career, maybe a guy that's, a back-end RB2, but you're getting him at 13. Like last year, he's clearly the RB1. Same as you look at, Cam Scatterbo at 18. He's clearly the RB1 from last year. Dylan Sampson, RJ Harvey, like there's so many running backs here. I almost think, and no knock on Fantasy Pros, but Elick Io-Manor does not belong in here. Jalen Milroe, maybe not. I think you could even bump in DJ Giddens. You could throw in Bashal Tootin, who I think Tootin really is going to be someone that jumps up. Damian Martinez. This second round should be littered with running backs.
Yeah, and just right away, a couple of things that pop out to my eyes. That Colston Loveland value is crazy. I love that in that early second round range. And same with Scatterbo.
Yeah, Loveland's arguably a round one guy. Like if you go back to round one, and it's tight end premium, I'm taking him over Burden. Yeah, like I would definitely take him over Burden. I'd lean Dart. It really depends on what your situation is. But yeah, he's in that 10 to 12 range for me as well. If you're getting him at 15 here, and again, Fantasy Pros bumps up the quarterbacks because it's Superflex /2 QB. They're trying to go to a broader audience. Same there with Jalen Milroe. But the running backs here, you and I have talked about quite a bit. The wide receivers, correct me, man. Debro got me back on the Trey Harris bandwagon. You and I were very high on him. We started to kind of move him back a little bit. He's potentially him and Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. They're second round studs. Like those three guys are really, if I can move back off of Golden and someone's really excited about it and get one of these guys plus, I'm in.
Yeah, I actually just posted my pre-draft rankings again. I had Trey Harris in the tier with Golden and Burden. The only thing holding me back from putting Trey Harris over Matthew Golden is Matthew Golden's guaranteed a lock to go round one. So they say. I don't think he should be, but that's what they say. And Trey Harris is in that situation where it's like round two, but there's a damn good chance he maybe slips to round three. And we've talked about that a lot on the show. That's dead zone for wideouts. Like if they go in round three, I'm probably not going to draft them unless I get crazy good value on them. But
yeah,
early round two, Trey Harris to like the Raiders or to like one of these fire situations, the Texans, any of these teams where they need a number 2 or even a number 1. He's probably going to be over Matthew Golden for me because I think he has a higher ceiling and I think he projects to be a better fantasy football asset. But Dad, we talk about so much with Colston Loveland, his value. Who's the guy we talk about on this show all the time when we're just like, just go trade for this guy. He's a tight end.
No, it's George Kittle.
He's going to be our new George Kittle. We're going to be like, just go get Colston Loveland with the 204. Like that's how we're going to treat that.
It's going to be a cheaper, like right now, like we keep saying, I want McBride. You're not getting Bowers. I want McBride. I want Kittle. I want Kraft, and I feel like Loveland's going to be that new guy for that. With the wide receivers we were talking about, it's so important for the NFL draft of if they get top 12 draft capital, those guys are going to be elite. If they're somewhere in that 15 to 25 range, those guys are going to be, back end wide receiver ones. That's kind of where we look at it. If they get late second into like mid 40s, that's all the same area. Or late first into that mid 40s, that's all the same area. Round 3, your hit rate drops drastically. Round 4, your hit rate's dead. Like you got Puka and that's it. Like, and so many guys get that fatigue where, let's say you have Elik Iomanor as your 21, and you're like, oh, I got to get him, right? And this is when I look at these rankings, I say that's a second round pick. If he goes in the second, yeah, he's worth it. But if he falls to the 4th, don't be that guy that's like, no, I liked what I saw on tape. He's there. If he goes in round 4 as a wide receiver, he's dead. But some of these running backs, Devin Neal, Dylan Sampson, RJ Harvey, Cam Scatterbo even, if they go in round 3, they got a chance to really be starters. Like that's with this class. If they go round 4, I think they got a real chance as well.
Yeah, me too. That's the discrepancy, right, between wide receivers and running backs. You have such a wider gap range with running backs. There's way more injuries, such a smaller depth chart. You got like a Blake Corum, Trey Benson, all these guys. They all went in that round 3, round 2 range. Brooks, all these guys, Marshawn Lloyd. They're an injury away from being the starter. That's what it was for them all last year, and none of them got lucky with that, so they weren't starters. But that's how I view Dylan Sampson, RJ Harvey, DJ Giddens, Damian Martinez, all these guys. They're better than those Marshawn Lloyds, Blake Corums, Trey Bensons to me and to my rankings and how I graded them as prospects, where I think that they could come in and be in that chain role or one of these round 3 roles where they get the role pretty quickly. Or they could be in that situation where they're kind of like a Kendre Miller, one of these guys just kind of sitting behind a stud veteran, waiting for their chance. But you have such a wider gap range. Like you get round 5, round 6, round 7 running backs that are good every year. Isaiah Pacheco, Kyron Williams, Bucky Irving. Like every single year you're getting that with wideouts. Like you said, Dad, it's Puka Nacua and who? Keenan Allen in whenever he got drafted. What was it, 2014, 2013? So it's like, it's not likely that you're going to get a day 3 wideout that hits unless he goes to like Sean McVay's system, right? So it's like.
And then we have Jalen Moreau here, who I'm seeing a lot of people having as an early second. I saw the Giants. I saw the Raiders. I would not mind him, I think ultimately he falls as a back end of the second guy. But if he goes to the Raiders, I mean, ultimately his running style, his running upside is going to give you fantasy production. Nothing elite as far as the passing go. But now we move into round 3, and some of these guys, Snoog, I don't think belong here. I think in the second round, I'm taking DJ Giddens. I'm taking Bashal Tutin. I'm taking, so many of these guys over the wide receivers. I'm taking Damian Martinez. Like the draft capital that these guys have to get moves them way up. I think the wide receivers here, Jack Beck, Jalen Royal, Xavier Restrepo. Who else do we have? Tez Johnson. I'm not really touching many of these guys in drafts. I would much rather the running back prospect because you're going to have Ollie Gordon, who's an injury away from being, a RB2 day 1. You're going to have Bashal Tutin goes to the right landing spot, and he's a injury away from having RB1 upside. Same with Martinez. Same with, this running back class is so good. You're going to get studs. Don't trade your thirds for nothing now. I've always used my thirds as sweeteners. I have more 3rd round picks in my rookie drafts than I've had ever because I think round 1, people are starting to get fatigue of they're not great.
Yep.
And you can argue that. You can argue whatever you want there. But I think round mid 2 to the mid 3 to late 3 is better than I can remember ever because you're getting Harold Fannin Jr. in the 3rd, Elijah Arroyo. These are guys that are legitimate tight ends, Mason Taylor. You're getting really nice tight ends. You're getting running backs that have some serious upside. Snoog, the 3rd round this year is just beautiful. And then you throw in Tyler Show. It's just, we hate him, but
2024 gave you about 12 to 13 guys, and everybody after that sucked. All those wide receivers that we all wanted to believe were good, like Jermaine Burton, Javon Baker, Jalen Polk, all these guys, they all just fell flat on their butts. All the running backs sucked other than Bucky Irving. It's just this class is so much better than last year after the first round. It's not even close either. All these Martinez, all these running backs, Tootin, DJ Giddens, Devin Neal, Scatabo, they all would have been, if we redrafted right now, they all would have probably went in that mid to late second range. All of them. Even the guys like that go all the way to the early third, Samson, those type of guys. Because they want to go over Adonai Mitchell, Keon Coleman, those prospects that were really touted wide receiver prospects that went in the early second round. They wouldn't have gone over them, but like Jermaine Burton and all these like Marshawn Lloyds that were propped up into the late second, early third round. Like those guys are mid to late third round picks in this year's class. So that's like the difference. You got to pick and choose, but we got good depth coming.
Guys, we have it right now. Patreon.com/SmashAccept is the fastest growing Discord in Dynasty. You guys got to get in there. It's got all Snoog's rankings, my rankings, all my content, his content. We now have, Scarface is doing, daily mock drafts to help you guys with your perfect your craft. Al Kalo's in there doing, his trade thing. So many guys, and we're offering discounts right now. Just because it's draft season and we love you guys. And we know if you get in there, you're going to love it too. I mean, guys were commenting. They're like, we didn't realize, we heard you and Snoog say, we didn't realize how active it was. Like, it's guys just like me. So code DRAFT is going to get you 25% off your yearly membership. Code SMASH is going to get you 50% off your monthly membership. Use those today. Get yourself in there. It's a community that Snoog has grown immensely, even more so than what you and I could have imagined. But it's a matter of people keep commenting on the positivity, the activeness, how much you and I are answering DMs. And, we've changed it to different tiers where you'll have certain windows where we're guaranteeing we will respond. A lot of analysts out there, they say that they take 3-4 days to respond. Snoog and I respond to everything within 24 hours. And we have, if you upgrade to VIP, we'll respond within 4 hours, and no one's doing that out there.
Yep. I love the Discord, man. I'm going in there and asking trade questions. Like, that's how much fun it is in there. And I just love seeing people coming to me like, Snoog, I just got this deal done that you and Dad said to do on the show. And it's just like, makes me happy that people are actually taking what we're saying and actually going out there and applying it. Because it's like, we're just here talking ball, having fun, trying to spread knowledge. And they're actually like, these guys are awesome. I'm going to trade DJ Giddens for Alvin Kamara. Like, that's the type of stuff that we're helping people kind of do out there. So it's really cool.
What's really cool is they come to you, they're like, Dad, I got this. It's almost like when my kids used to bring me pictures so I can put them on the fridge. I'm like, I'm putting all these Dynasty trades on my fridge at home.
Screenshotting them.
Exactly. I'm like, I'm so proud of this. Check it out, Snoog. So thanks again for tuning in, guys, and enjoy the process.
Trade show.